Yes, welcome back. We have 20 minutes left for arrival, so it's already descending, but I was busy to do something else. Let's watch the descending. But we can continue reading the Sri Lanka PDF. I think we can do that. Let's just do that.
Power in 1977. Defeating the largely unpopular United Front government. 133. Jayawardene introduced a new constitution, together with a free market economy and a powerful executive presidency modelled after that of France. It made Sri Lanka the first South Asian country to liberalise its economy. 134. Beginning in 1983, ethnic tensions were manifested in an on-and-off insurgency against the government with LTTE. An LTTE attack on 13 soldiers resulted in the anti-Tamil race riots in July 1983, allegedly backed by Sinhalese hardline ministers, which resulted in more than 150,000 Tamil civilians fleeing the island, seeking asylum in other countries. 135, 136. Lapses in foreign policy resulted in India strengthening the Tigers by providing arms and training. 137, 138, 139. In 1987, the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord was signed and the Indian Peacekeeping Force, IPKF, was deployed in northern Sri Lanka to stabilize the region by neutralizing the LTTE. 140. The same year, the JVP launched its second insurrection in southern Sri Lanka. 141. Necessitating redeployment of the IPKF in 1990. 142. In October 1990, the LTTE expelled Sri Lankan Muslims by religion, from northern Sri Lanka. 143. In 2002, the Sri Lankan government and LTTE signed a Norwegian-mediated ceasefire agreement. 123. The 2004 Asian tsunami killed over 30,000 and displaced over 500,000 people in Sri Lanka. 144, 145. From 1985 to 2006, the Sri Lankan government and Tamil insurgents held 4 rounds of peace talks without success. Both LTTE and the government resumed fighting in 2006, and the government officially backed out of the ceasefire in 2008. 123. In 2009, under the presidency of Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Sri Lanka Armed Forces defeated the LTTE, bringing an end to the civil war, and re-established control of the entire country by the Sri Lankan government. 146. Overall, between 60,000 and 100,000 people were killed during the 26 years of conflict. 147, 148. Geography. A roughly oval island with a mountainous center. Topographic map of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a pear-shaped island nation in South Asia, lying on the Indian Plate, a major tectonic plate that was formerly part of the Indo-Australian Plate. 149. It is in the Indian Ocean southwest of the Bay of Bengal, between latitudes 5 degrees and 10 degrees N, and longitudes 79 degrees and 82 degrees E. 150. Sri Lanka is separated from the mainland portion of the Indian subcontinent by the Gulf of Mannar and Cork Strait. According to Hindu mythology, a land bridge existed between the Indian mainland and Sri Lanka. It now amounts to only a chain of limestone shoals remaining above sea level. 151. Legends claim that it was passable on foot up to 1,480 CE, until cyclones deepened the channel. 152. 153. Portions are still as shallow as 1 meter, 3 feet, hindering navigation. 154. The island consists mostly of flat to rolling coastal plains, with mountains rising only in the south-central part. The highest point is Pijaru Talagala, reaching 2,524 meters, 8,281 feet, above sea level. A view of Sripada from Maskalia, Sri Lanka has 103 rivers. The longest of these is the Maholi River, extending 335 kilometers, 208 mi. 155. These waterways give rise to 51 natural waterfalls of 10 meters, 33 feet, or more. The highest is Bambarakanda Falls, with a height of 263 meters, 863 feet. 156. Sri Lanka's coastline is 1,585 kilometers, 985 mi, long. 157. Sri Lanka claims an exclusive economic zone extending 200 nautical miles, which is approximately 6.7 times Sri Lanka's land area. The coastline and adjacent waters support highly productive marine ecosystems such as fringing coral reefs and shallow beds of coastal and estuarine seagrasses. 158. Sri Lanka has 45 estuaries and 40 lagoons. 157. Sri Lanka's mangrove ecosystem spans over 7,000 hectares and played a vital role in buffering the force of the waves in the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. 159. The island is rich in minerals such as ilmenite, feldspar, graphite, silica, kaolin, mica and thurum. 160. 161. Existence of petroleum and gas in the Gulf of Mannar has also been confirmed, and the extraction of recoverable quantities is underway. 162. Climate. Sri Lanka map of Köppen climatic classification. The climate is tropical and warm because of moderating effects of ocean winds. Mean temperatures range from 17 degrees Celsius, 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit, in the Central Highlands, where frost may occur for several days in the winter, to a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius, 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit, in low-altitude areas. Average yearly temperatures range from 28 degrees Celsius, 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit, to nearly 31 degrees C, 87.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Day and night temperatures may vary by 14 degrees Celsius, 57.2 degrees Fahrenheit, to 18 degrees C, 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. 163. The rainfall pattern is influenced by monsoon winds from the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal. The wet zone and some of the windward slopes of the Central Highlands receive up to 2,500 millimeters, 98.4 in, of rain each year, but the leeward slopes in the east and northeast receive little rain. Most of the east, southeast, and northern parts of Sri Lanka comprise the dry zone, which receives between 1,200 and 1,900 millimeters, 47 and 75 in, of rain annually. 164. The arid northwest and southeast coasts receive the least rain at 800 to 1,200 millimeters, 31 to 47 in, per year. Periodic squalls occur and sometimes tropical cyclones bring overcast skies and rains to the southwest, northeast, and eastern parts of the island. Humidity is typically higher in the southwest and mountainous areas and depends on the seasonal patterns of rainfall. 165. An increase in average rainfall coupled with heavier rainfall events has resulted in recurrent flooding and related damages to infrastructure, utility supply and the urban economy. 166. Flora and fauna. The Sri Lankan elephant is one of 3 recognized subspecies of the Asian elephant. The 2011 elephant census estimated a population of 5,879. 167. Western Ghats of India and Sri Lanka were included among the first 18 global biodiversity hotspots due to high levels of species endemism. The number of biodiversity hotspots has now increased to 34. 168. Sri Lanka has the highest biodiversity per unit area among Asian countries for flowering plants and all vertebrate groups except birds. 169. A remarkably high proportion of the species among its flora and fauna, 27% of the 3,210 flowering plants and 22% of thymernals, are endemic. 170. Sri Lanka supports a rich avifauna of that stands at 453 species, and this include 240 species of birds that are known to breed in the country. 33. Species are accepted by some ornithologists as endemic, while some ornithologists consider only 27 are endemic and the remaining 6 are considered as proposed endemics. 171. Sri Lanka's protected areas are administrated by 2 government bodies, the Department of Forest Conservation and the Department of Wildlife Conservation. Department of Wildlife Conservation administrates 61 wildlife sanctuaries, 22 national parks, 4 nature reserves, 3 strict nature reserves, and 1 jungle corridor, while Department of Forest Conservation oversees 65 conservation forests and 1 national heritage wilderness area. 26.5% of the country's land area is legally protected. This is a higher percentage of protected areas when compared to the rest of Asia. 172. Sri Lanka contains 4 terrestrial ecoregions: Sri Lanka lowland rainforests, Sri Lanka mountain rainforests, Sri Lanka dry zone dry evergreen forests, and Deccan thorn scrub forests. 173. Flowering acacias flourish on the arid Jaffna Peninsula. Among the trees of the dryland forests are valuable species such as satinwood, ebony, ironwood, mahogany and teak. Thule zone is a tropical evergreen forest with tall trees, broad foliage, and a dense undergrowth of vines and creepers. Subtropical evergreen forests resembling those of temperate climates flourish in the higher altitudes. 174. Yala National Park in the southeast protects herds of elephant, deer, and peacocks. The Wilpattu National Park in the northwest, the largest national park, preserves the habitats of many water birds such as storks, pelicans, ibis, and spoonbills. The island has 4 biosphere reserves: Kundala, Hurulu Forest Reserve, the Kamiliardedi Galanaki and Sinharaja. 175. Sinharaja is home to 26 endemic birds and 20 rainforest species, including the elusive red-faced malkoha, the green-billed kalkal and the Sri Lanka blue magpie. The untapped genetic potential of Sinharaja flora is enormous. Of the 211 woody trees and lianas within the reserve, 139, 66%, are endemic. The total vegetation density, including trees, shrubs, herbs, and seedlings, has been estimated at 240,000 individuals per hectare. The Minariyar National Park borders the Minariyar Tank, which is an important source of water for elephants inhabiting the surrounding forests. Dubbed the Gathering, the congregation of elephants can be seen on the tank bed in the late dry season, August to October, as the surrounding water sources steadily disappear. The park also encompasses a range of microhabitats which include classic tree zone tropical monsoonal evergreen forest, thick stands of giant bamboo, hilly pastures, patinas, and grasslands. Talawas. 176. The Sri Lankan leopard, Pantheropardus kottaya, is an endangered subspecies of leopard native to Sri Lanka. Maharathmala, Rhododendron arboreum ssp zelanicum, is a rare subspecies of Rhododendron arboreum found in central highlands of Sri Lanka. During the Maholi program of the 1970s and 1980s in northern Sri Lanka, the government set aside 4 areas of land totaling 1,900 square kilometers, 730 square mi, as national parks. Statistics of Sri Lanka's forest cover show rapid deforestation from 1956 to 2010. In 1956, 44.2% of the country's land area had forest cover. Forest cover depleted rapidly in recent decades, 29.6% in 1999, 28.7% in 2010. 177. Government and politics. The old Sri Lankan Parliament building, near the Gal Face Green. It now serves as the Presidential Secretariat's headquarters. Sri Lanka is a democratic republic and unitary state which is governed by a semi-presidential system, with a mixture of a presidential system and a parliamentary system. 178. Sri Lanka is the oldest democracy in Asia. 179. Most provisions of the constitution can be amended by a 2/3 majority in parliament. The amendment of certain basic features such as clauses on language, religion, and reference to Sri Lanka as a unitary state require both a 2/3 majority and approval in a nationwide referendum. In common with many democracies, the Sri Lankan government has 3 branches: executive. The President of Sri Lanka is the head of state, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Chief Executive, and is popularly elected for a 5-year term. 180. The President heads the cabinet and appoints ministers from elected members of Parliament. 181. The President is immune from legal proceedings while in office with respect to any acts done or omitted to be done by him or her in either an official or private capacity. 182. Following passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution in 2015, the President has 2 terms, which previously stood at no term limit. Legislative. The Parliament of Sri Lanka is a unicameral 225-member legislature with 196 members elected in multi-seat constituencies and 29 elected by proportional representation. 183. Members are elected by universal suffrage for a 5-year term. The President may summon, suspend, or end a legislative session and dissolve Parliament any time after 4.5 years. The Parliament reserves the power to make all laws. 184. The President's deputy and head of government, the Prime Minister, leads the ruling party in Parliament and shares many executive responsibilities, mainly in domestic affairs. Judicial. Sri Lanka's judiciary consists of a Supreme Court, the highest and final superior court or full court. 184. A Court of Appeal, High Courts and a number of subordinate courts. The highly complex legal system reflects diverse cultural influences. 185. Criminal law is based almost entirely on British law. Basic civil law derives from Roman law and Dutch law. Laws pertaining to marriage, divorce, and inheritance are communal. 186. Because of ancient customary practices and / or religion, the Sinhala customary law, Kandyan law, the Thisavalami, and Sharia law are followed in special cases. 187. The President appoints judges to the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Courts. A Judicial Service Commission, composed of the Chief Justice and 2 Supreme Court judges, appoints, transfers, and dismisses lower court judges. The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. Colombo politics. The current political culture in Sri Lanka is a contest between 2 rival coalitions led by the centre-left and Progressive United People's Freedom Alliance, UPFA, a